Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Yeah.
Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of the Massenomics podcast. I'm Tyler. Next to me is Tommy.
What's up?
And way over there is Tanner.
What's up, everybody? Over here on the dark side of the moon. Not anymore.
Oh, there is no dark side anymore to this.
Guys, we have seriously upgraded the lighting in here. Right before we move the studio, big announcement, we're moving the studio into a very official space. It's going to be a whole new building in a mall or something. Are you having to double check to make sure we're recording? You're going to show lights. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see really how official our whole setup is. We got lights on chairs, lights on stands, stands on stands,
Lights in the ceiling.
Yeah, it's pretty serious. But we're going to be moving up in the next couple weeks to a new studio space. It's going to be super fly. So we are testing out the new lights today just to see how they work. We may need more.
It's like a corner office in the sky, isn't it?
Basically,
the new studio?
Yeah. It's got its own bathroom. It's pretty much the best. Are you even going to make it in the shot now, Tanner?
Oh, I'll squeeze in.
All right, good.
Yeah.
So we, anyway, this
Well,
week,
you know what, though? I heard something.
What's that?
I heard a little birdie talking about bench PRs this week.
Jesus, yeah,
And,
some big bench PRs.
I don't know if someone
Yeah,
can...
Big Ross hit a bench PR.
I also heard there might have been another one in there, too.
Yeah, it was a big, really important things happened to me this week. I hit a bench PR.
And maybe.
And that was it. Completely it, right?
That's all I can remember. That's all that comes to mind.
If you guys do remember last week's episode, Tanner got a phone call and left the pod. The only time he's ever gotten up and walked away.
Which is like a cardinal sin of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was worried you guys weren't going to allow me back.
Well,
We were talking about it.
I was like, he better have had to shit. That's all I gotta say. Totally forgetting that they were on full on baby being born watch. In which case, the baby was born live on the podcast last week.
I delivered it on this table. But I did literally go from here recording the podcast to the hospital.
Yeah, that's
so that's
well, that was good timing though that it wasn't any sooner.
Right. My wife did get to the hospital before me, but it worked out okay that I wasn't like overly late. Where it's like, were you podcasting instead of?
Everyone
coming
has
to
to
the
wonder
hospital?
why the single mother's in the hospital.
Yeah. They were all looking at me and judging me.
But so we did go to the hospital and we had a baby. So
Very exciting.
that and the bench PR made for a pretty big week. In all honesty, the baby is much more important, but I'm making that joke. For the podcast.
But let's be real. The bench PR was a lot longer coming.
That's true. 9 months is pretty short in
Comparison to like 30 years.
Yeah,
Especially your bench lately.
Well, that's because I hit a bench PR today, which is is touch and go, but more than I've ever done before. But
And what was that?
475.
You just could not let Ross.
That's what I said. Because I got out, Tanner picked me up because also we are entering our 9th month of winter here, and the snow is nonstop. So I had Tanner pick me up on the way over here, and I'm like, oh, I saw Ross's bench has been blowing up, and because what did he hit 465?
465.
Which I was like, damn, like I didn't know Ross was just. It just seems like every week he's been
piling it up.
Yeah.
Right.
So things are going really good for him. And
His
then
bench looks really.
It
like
is. Oh
he's
yeah,
got
it's
benching
dialed
down
in.
to,
Yeah, there's not much he could change there.
There's a lot of people that would like to bench like that if they could do it.
From a technical standpoint, you have Ross's bench, which is near the top. Then you have my bench, which is different every rep. You're like, well, it keeps moving.
I mean, how do you find out what you're good at if you're not trying something different
that's
every time,
true.
right?
Yeah.
That's true.
But yeah, I asked Tanner, I go, yeah, so Ross's bench is pretty good. He's like, yeah.
Not anymore.
And well, he told me about it, and then he's like, yeah, also I had a pretty good bench too. I'm like, oh, what's that? He said 475. I'm like, you just couldn't let Ross have it, could you?
No, I actually. So I finished. I wasn't bench pressing at all for,
Years.
Years.
Basically for a year, not bench
Since
pressing
the
at all.
early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, it's. I haven't benched since '99.
Since before Bitcoin was cool.
Bitcoin's still not cool, guys.
So then I finished. I was doing I just said, screw it. I can't bench. It's not working. It's hurting so bad. I literally couldn't. So I just switched to training my overhead press, which went really good. I did 2 8-week cycles of.
And your reasoning for that
my
was your overhead press didn't hurt.
Exactly. Yeah. So I did, basically the Jackals 8 weeks program.
Mm-hmm.
I did it 2 times in succession, 16 weeks, and I could just feel it getting better and better all the time. The 17th week, 18th week, I took basically a week off of it. And the 18th week, I did singles to see what I could do, and it ended up over the course of it going up probably 50 pounds, I would say.
Yeah.
And then when I got done with that, I started tinkering with bench again because it had been 18 weeks with not laying on a bench and doing it at all. And
And then all the months before that, or almost a year before that, where you didn't really
touched
it very often
very,
on.
very rarely.
Yeah.
So I started going back to it really lightly, and it was feeling good, not perfect. It's not like I went back to it and was like, ooh, shoulder feels great. This is really fun now. But I could tell I was making a lot of progress, and I could start working it in. So then I did basically an 8-week, is a little more than that because there's weeks in there where it wasn't feeling well. It was feeling injured, or like I was maybe going to regress with it instead of progress with recovering. So I was just really taking it a week by week. Every time I went in there, if it felt good, I would do my programmed work. If it didn't felt good, I'd just scratch that week and put it to next week. Mm-hmm. So I'd work up to, say, by 225 or 275, I could tell if it was painful in I would say, overly negative way. Mm-hmm. I would just shut it down there and go overhead press lightly. Usually, in order to make sure I wasn't pressing that heavy, I do something with I like to over press with the camber bar or the earthquake bar with bands hanging. I do one of those two for higher reps. And I get done with that, and my shoulder actually feels better. Mm-hmm. Just the overhead pressing. Yeah, and it just overhead pressing helps my shoulder feel better. Bench pressing makes it feel worse in a nutshell. I don't know why exactly that is, but that's the case. So anyways, that's how I went about bench press, and then I got to the end of that 8 weeks on bench press, which is actually longer than 8 weeks. I don't know how many weeks I took off in there, but got to the end of it. And then it was this week, Wednesday would be the normal day I lift. I was like, oh, this would be kind of my testing week to, I don't have anything programmed. I just want to see what I can do. I had a baby on Tuesday, stayed up for 40 hours straight or something like that. Didn't end up going in on Wednesday at all. Got some sleep Wednesday night, went in Thursday, and I worked up to 275, and I was like, don't know if I could bench 315 today. It felt so heavy to me and just achy, and everything felt terrible, and I was tired. So I just did 5 sets of 3 at 275, and I was like, I'm going to give this a few days and come back and see if I'm more rested and it feels better. So I went in today, and it went really well. My plan wasn't to motherfuck Ross by just doing a little bit more than him. My 465 is actually what I wanted to get to.
Yeah. And
I did that, and I got done with it, and I was like, that felt really good, where I could do another one and it wasn't so 465 wasn't so hard that if I did one more that I knew I was going to blow out a freaking gasket. I didn't want to. I don't like to, especially on bench. I don't want to do anything that I think I'm not going to get.
Yeah.
So I was like, I knew if I go 4 to 75, I'm like, you never know for sure. I've never had that on the bar before, but I just was pretty confident that I would still go, and it moved pretty well. And it was a good choice in numbers because 480 might have been that blowing my gasket and maybe getting it, but then getting up from it and being like, well, now my shoulder is completely functioning.
We'll make another run at this in a year.
Yeah, and I feel, it's hard to tell right afterwards, but I feel pretty decent, so that was a good number and coincidentally, it did kind of motherfuck Ross then.
Well, Ross and I were talking this
But
week
I do
too,
weigh
that
like 25 more pounds than him, so it's not.
Ross and I were talking this week that we might probably within a couple years that we probably have at least 3 of us over 5 on the bench as long as nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Maybe 4.
It's
With Big Jason.
not without. Yeah, I mean, it's still even 25 pounds away. It's still 25
25
pounds.
pounds.
Like that's what Tommy said. He's like was one of the first things Tommy said.
That's why
yeah.
we're not calling it in 6 months. We're thinking like a couple years.
Yeah, like. Yeah, exactly.
You're not me trying to add 25. Like, you're not me trying to, like, make a run at, like, 365-ish, somewhere in there, you know.
Like, it just took me 3 years to go from considering injuries and everything else, but that's a very real part of considering adding 25 more parts.
I think one of the best
That's
things
the
I ever
line
heard with
you-
this,
you
Yeah.
the best things I ever heard, I think it was Johnny Candido had a post on Instagram, and he's like, just wherever you think you want to be at and how long you think it's going to take, just double it, and then you might be close.
Yeah,
And,
that's
like, that's
the truth.
pretty accurate.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah. So it took me 3 years to add 20. So, that's. And then if I go out 3 more years from now, well, then I'm 35, which still isn't an unreasonable age to get stronger.
But it's also not like when you're 25 and just.
Exactly.
No,
like
no.
the older you get, the more likely you are, and the stronger
and
you get.
you're not trying to put on 40 pounds of body weight just to do it.
No, and I'm actually trying not to put on.
But-
I kind of don't want to put on any body weight. Is the
Here's
thing.
the thing to think, though, Tanner. If you really think about this, the 2 things, and this is the only explanation I come up with, is you had a baby, and the week you had a baby, you had a bench PR.
Oh.
So I think you need to have more babies.
Well, you're supposed to wait 6 weeks. Though, so I can't go act on
We're
that.
all assuming that they have the same mom. Mary, I didn't say
point.
that out loud.
I guess now that you put it that way.
See, you could have staggered the starts.
Yeah.
Maybe PR in once
Have
a month.
one every couple of months.
Yeah, you'd be at 500 or 600 in no time.
Yeah. Huh.
Call you the White Larry Wheels.
because of the babies or the bench.
Bench.
Speaking of Larry Wheels, did you see Larry Wheels deadlift?
870.
Oh, man.
Do you also notice that he doesn't take even a moment to set up with the bar?
That is
No.
I think it's getting faster. His
Yeah.
He
like
just
he
stands
literally
there,
grabs it
gets
and goes.
tight.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anyone else that does the grip and rip at that weight like that.
Yeah. John Hack kind of does it, but I
little
don't think
bit.
he's as quick as Larry is.
Well, and
like
then
Larry,
it's also not that much weight. Like John Hack
Right.
definitely lifts a crazy amount.
750
Yeah,
pounds
he
maybe,
lifts. He has
yeah.
a crazy deadlift, but
Pushing
it's-
9 is a totally different
875 is you're in some pretty rare territory at that
Right.
point.
It's I that one, like, he seems to be becoming more exaggerated with how quick it is, because on that one in particular I was like, whoa, he just like
Yeah.
I don't even know how he
I don't know if you could even tell anyone like watch this guy and do what he does.
Yeah.
I think that'd be bad advice.
he's
I
almost
think in almost everything he does, that would be bad advice.
what's hard
Start
about it,
taking steroids when you're 15.
yeah, exactly. What people say is on a squat, you can get some rebound. On a touch and go bench, you can get some rebound. On a deadlift, you can never get some rebound. He's almost like figuring out a way. He's like, I'm gonna dive.
If I just go down
like,
back.
I'd be like,
But it's like
dive
at the
down.
same time, it just seems like it'd be really hard to get a good grip doing it that quick, wouldn't it?
You would have to be really confident in the way you could do
I
that,
think
because
he must be just really precise.
Yeah.
I mean, because I couldn't get down there and not.
that's really. I go pretty quick from like when I bend over to where I'm start pulling, but it's not like that.
Have you ever like tried to put a shoe on while you're standing up? Just like one shoe at a time,
I
and
can't
even
do
take
that.
your time, and it takes 3 or 4 attempts. Like how the hell is this dude just like grab the bar, go?
Yeah. That is, and like you said, with borderline 900 pounds.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, anyone could go. We could all do that with 300 pounds, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But
I'd get fucking hurt. I think
Yeah.
with any weight. If I go down
Like
and come
on the
up
way
that fast, I'm
well, you
gonna
might get hurt on the way down, Tyler.
Probably. I may never come back up.
But yeah, this has got me really interested because I think he plans on doing the U.S. Open, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I think so.
This has got me like really interested in what numbers he's going to put up
Yeah.
there, because he is on like he could possibly do a 900-ish deadlift and
Yep.
an over 600-pound bench, and that's
Yeah.
Which is
really
almost 1,000 pounds total right there.
yeah. The math checks out.
have you guys seen JP Price's benching at all? JP Price, friend of the Massenomics podcast, we chatted with him at the Arnold this year. The last one he did was 600 for a pause double, and where it looks pretty good. And this is a guy that also squats over 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So he's one of, I think it's I don't know how many guys
so
that have.
he's like a 400-pound deadlift away from an easy 2,000.
Yeah,
total.
exactly. I can't remember the stat, but he's one of like 3 or 4 guys to ever squat over 1,000 and bench over 600 on the same day.
And probably the most handsome of the bunch.
He smells the best. He
Smells
said
the best
that.
for sure.
Yeah, he told us that. And Kevin Oak.
I did see that. Yeah,
Lifted
Kevin
this week,
Oak, he
and-
broke a world record with squat.
Yeah, 830 something or
Yeah,
so.
was
Is that in the 220 or 242?
It was 242. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
I thought he was a. I didn't even. Look
I think it was 242.
Yeah, it was
but
150, yeah.
what's unique about him is there's not a lot of guys that have that high bar technique that he does, and he buries it too. Like
Yeah.
there is no question on depth when he hit that
Yeah,
thing.
and that was USP,
USPA,
yeah,
yeah.
USPA, where they're same federation that does the US Open, where it's all walked out. It's all at squat stands and judged consistently and fairly.
Yep.
So it's nothing. There's
Yeah,
nothing
you
to say.
can't really knock it.
Right. I don't know what his total was and everything, but I assume it was a lot too.
Yeah, and then speaking of big deadlifts, Zahir also made an appearance in the world.
So he competed this
What
weekend.
meet was that? It was like an.
It was a
Ireland,
dip,
right?
yeah, and he apparently
So I-
again had trouble getting there.
Well, so I don't understand why, of all the meets that he's going to choose to go to, it's just one in Ireland.
Just think, every meet that he does, he has to travel to another country.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, I shouldn't say he has to, but he does.
Yeah.
Like and it's not like it's
not
not
like-
like
and
he's
it's probably
traveling
not
to a
that-
different state.
yeah.
He has to like,
Flying out of Azerbaijan.
and that's what ended up keeping him out of big dogs this year. Is what they said is that he couldn't
get there.
he couldn't get to Australia.
Like, was it like visa issues
Yeah,
or plane?
No, it was like visa issues.
Yeah.
but he had plane issues this time.
So yeah, he didn't show up until like the day of, basically, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. And anyways, he totaled over 2,300. I don't know what it was. He deadlifted 390 kilos. What's that? Like 860 or something like
pounds
that.
or
Yeah, a really good deadlift. And he got done and he gave he held it at the top for a
Casual
little
fist
bit
pump.
and he gave it like a slow, nice yeah. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
And then he started to walk away and he turned back around and is like,
He was like, I need to up
he's
the
like,
craze.
I don't know if that was
Zahir
crazy enough. So he came back and he's like, double fist pump into just like shaking, convulsing, looking around. And then he stopped and the judge comes up to him after a record. They have to check his
his drawers.
equipment. And he's like,
Looks like the
falling
judge
over.
is keeping him up.
yeah. So it's,
And then about fell off the platform on his way to the other judge.
I don't know what he's on, but I mean,
He's on pure enthusiasm.
High on life.
he is insane.
Um,
And he DM'd us that video of him doing the deadlift.
like
so-
any great lifter does. It's
Listen,
like,
if you
I gotta
are a
know what
great
the
lifter-
Massenomics guys think of this. So
if you have any sweet angles of your lifts and you are, on his level, top 10 all time,
shoot him our way.
just, send him our
we'll,
way.
we'll give you our opinion and technique.
I'll give
opinion.
I'll give you
I think
some
that's what he
cues.
wanted back. Because they're like, oh, it looks good.
He was
yeah.
like, I was wondering what Tyler and his fucking.
do you think my lower
500
back
pound
rounds
squat-
too much in this deadlift? I think that's what
That's
he's
what
trying to get at.
Zahir
Right?
wanted to know for us. Like,
Just
how,
the
do you think my
language barrier, it
Were
was
my
hard.
knees soft at the top, or were they all right?
And I'm like, listen, Z man, I'm gonna shoot it to you straight here.
With our help, you could be the best.
Yeah. He does have the best Wilks of all time, I think.
I think it is.
Yeah. So he's already the best. I don't know if he needs our help.
Everyone needs my help. So, also, as far as European lifting, we had was it Europe's Strongest Man?
Europe's Giants Live, Europe's Strongest Man this weekend.
And there's an interesting take on that, too. I noticed, was it on Starting Strongman or was it Cale Beck's Instagram feed? But there was a lot of going on about they had set that this was where they're going to attempt the log lift world record.
Yeah. So that was an event of the competition.
So the event was just the log, right?
Yeah, that was the first event of Europe's Strongest Man. So there was 3 or 4 competing in the log lift that weren't competing in World's Strongest Man.
So let people in on the
Just
you
the
could be a
log.
log only competitor,
Yeah.
or you could also be a full Europe's
and
Strongest Man.
some of the guys they let in were non-Europeans.
Yeah. So there was Robert Oberst was there. Oh shit, I don't remember who else.
Iron Bibby,
Yep.
and there's someone else too.
We're just-
Eddie Hall was only because Eddie Hall
hurt his foot or something.
his ankle, so he wasn't doing the full. He backed out of the full competition and was just doing the log lift.
But it was kind of interesting because there was that was all the talk. Nobody was even talking about who's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was talking before. There was all this lead up and trash talk about how so and so is going to take Z's record and this and that, and that's all it was.
Yeah.
Leading up to it.
Z's record log lift, biggest ever, 228 kilograms, 502 pounds, whatever that comes out to. It is worth noting it was done on a steel log. A lot of people say a steel log is easier than a wood log. They're using a wood log at Europe's Strongest Man.
What's the reasoning there? Is it a
I
different
don't
diameter?
know.
Or?
I don't know. And what Cale Beck has said before is that he thinks, much like the Rogue elephant deadlift bar is a separate record than the other than a regular deadlift.
Log.
He thinks steel log and wood log should
be
like
different.
considered two separate records, really, because it's so different.
I
But
almost
don't
wonder
know
though
why.
when you get into wood logs too, though, like how every log is going to be different. A little bit different too.
Well, and this was done on a long wooden log, which is what they seems to be like the hardest kind of log there is. Where Z set his 500+ pound lift on a short steel log. I don't know if it's a clean issue or what.
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I haven't done enough different implements on the log to know. But Cale had posted on his Instagram about how Paul Mauser said that competitors and fans need to get back to worrying about how difficult an event was and not necessarily just it being heavy. They said implements aren't standard and there's hard and easy versions of all of them. But the current trend, everyone worries so much about records and how heavy the weight is, and not about how difficult the tasks are. And this is the point that I liked a lot here, was that records should be tracked in strongman, but they should happen because they need to. They said right now the entire contests are getting overshadowed by the pursuit of a record. And this is a point here that kind of makes sense, because this happened to powerlifting. At first it was a benefit to the sport, but over time it devalued the head-to-head competition. And you see that a lot now, where you'll see an entire meet and there is no mention of who won, who did this, who did that. You set a squat record, set the squat record. Well, what if you finish fucking second in
It's
the
like
total?
what we talked about today about powerlifting beforehand. We don't know who won those competitions or anything. We just know if Kevin Oaks set a world record.
Yeah, we are not.
I don't even
innocent
know
in
what
this.
he did for the next two lifts. You
Yeah.
know, like
Not a clue. Could have bombed out.
Like that is really that is very true. I think like
it's
it's
no
very
different than he went out and hit 15 threes in the game. But
right.
did they win?
Did they win?
I
Did
don't
they
even
lose
know.
the
Only hit those threes because they were losing by 40.
yeah. So what do you guys think? Like what and
In strength sports, here's the deal. Like, the sport is winning of the event, right? So that should be the thing. The problem is strength sports are like 80% of the sport of strongman and powerlifting. When it comes to what you're going to see publicly is a dick measuring contest.
yeah.
So it's my weight was heavier.
Yeah.
I did this lift heavier. The one lift is all that's going to make it on fucking Instagram. You know. And so if you have a shitty deadlift and a shitty squat, but your bench is money, put the bench on there.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
You know, and so
And that's the thing, is they do work good for like these clips on their own, but like if you're talking about the sport of powerlifting is all three lifts. You know, so
Right. It's the total is the sport of powerlifting. It is not how much you can deadlift. It is your total.
Yep.
In comparison to the other people's totals. What I worry about with strongman moving to that is it does work good right now. There's a lot of guys at that level that they're pushing. So the deadlift and log are two really interesting events for that world record discussion, because they're huge weights and they're static
Cool to
movements.
watch.
Yeah. But so Eddie Hall has been pushing those both, of course. You know, Z's there on the log, and now Thor's been pushing those records in the deadlift, and Brian's there too and stuff. But what if we get like, you know, these guys, Thor finishes his career in, 5 to 10 more years, and Brian's done and Eddie's out of it and everything. And like, what if they get move these records up a couple more times, and it gets to the point there just really isn't anyone like that's
there
breaking
yet.
that for 20 years or something.
Yeah.
Then what do you watch? You're like, well, we went to the Arnold this year. We watched the deadlift event was freaking awesome, and Thor broke the record, and it made it so cool.
And it's
what
like-
if we go in 3 years and they're still doing it?
Oh,
It's
and
like,
it is going to be a minor letdown,
Yeah.
like, because if it could realistically be for the next 5 years, we either don't see anyone break it or they break it by just a couple pounds.
Right.
And like, yeah, that would make total sense if that's the case.
Yeah.
But it's also like really anticlimactic because now
Yeah.
I expect that thing to be broken every year.
Exactly. And that's what I worry about for someone like Eddie Hall. Why does he even want to go compete in a max deadlift event ever again unless he thinks that he can deadlift over 500
If
kilograms?
Eddie
Then
ever
people are just
fails-
going to be like, oh, look at him. He's washed up.
Yeah,
You know,
499.
he just deadlifted 1,070 pounds. Like he must not have it anymore, you know?
And that's the thing. Like if he's never, and that's the thing. So he gets to a deadlift event, even in a competition, and he only needs to pull 490 and does. Does anyone give a shit then?
Yeah,
you know, and
right.
that becomes a bit of a problem. But no, it doesn't translate to any other sport. Like nobody's like, well, you know, Tom Brady passed for 480 points
'Cause it's
480
about winning the Super Bowl.
480 yards and 3 touchdowns. But I mean, the world record was 550 and 5 touchdowns.
Right.
So who gives a shit?
Because in those sports, it really more is about winning, though. Like it
Yeah.
is like if
The
you're the
bigger
quarterback
picture.
that wins the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
You won.
yeah.
It's contract year.
So who was it?
Nothing else matters.
So the Super Bowl this year was the Patriots and
the Eagles.
the Eagles,
And the
Eagles won. So that's a tough comparison because it's whatever Nick Foles versus Tom Brady. But at the end of the day, Nick Foles won the Super Bowl.
So that's all that
like
matters.
that's really the
Yep.
what people would be, and Tom Brady was a loser on the end of the day. Even though he probably had a really good, he did break. There you go. He broke records, passing records in that game, right? Like the most in Super Bowl history or something like that. And
I don't even know.
I
I don't know if I
don't
watched
know.
the whole
yeah,
game.
yeah.
I blacked out.
But just goes again to show, like, the records don't matter as much there.
Right, but we remember that the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But strongman really is turning away from that, where I think you more so remember that Eddie Hall broke the deadlift record, not who won Europe's Strongest Man that
And it's
year.
so strange for an individual sport, though, to all of a sudden become less concerned about that individual winning, and it just gets boiled down, concentrated down to an individual in an individual event
Yes,
within the parameters of this competition.
right.
So it'd be nice to see it become more about who wins, But then again, if you're not the guy that wins, if I get second, I'm gonna make the whole thing about the lifts that I won. That's the truth.
Right.
Like,
It still seems like to me though, World's Strongest Man, even though World's Strongest Man specifically, it is about winning that competition. It is about saying at the end of the day, if you're one of these top guys, how many times you won World's Strongest Man. Yep. Not Europe's Strongest Man and not the Arnold, but that's how people get compared. Brian has 4 World's Strongest Man, Z has 4 World's Strongest Man, Marius had 5. Like that's how you look at that. So just that competition specifically is kind of still like the Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah.
I also think there's, with there being, I think these secondary competitions are good for the sport, but I do think also that these guys aren't approaching it with the need to win that competition being that high on their list. Like,
Well, just look at the crowd, like this Giants Live. That looks like a sweet event to go to.
one day, right? All in one day. I don't even know how
Yeah,
long
like
it
the
is.
stands go up. I still don't know where it's at, but the stands are huge.
How they have not tried to replicate that in the States, I don't even get, because fucking monster truck shows are the shit here. Like, Americans love that shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
That's true.
Like, you've got people lining up in thousands of people to watch people fucking golf this weekend.
Yeah.
You can't get 5,000. Like, somebody needs to just all right, we're gonna put on an
do
event.
America's Strongest Man, don't they?
They did, and Jerry Pritchett, I believe, won it this year. But
Where do they even have it at? Like it's.
I don't
I
even
feel
know
like
where it was at for
the
sure.
European one gets hyped up a decent amount.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's the 3rd biggest strongman competition
outside of Arnold and World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, America just is totally.
I mean, first we bail them out of fucking old WW2, and
This is how they repay us.
that's how they repay us.
But with the log lift going into it, they were really hyping that because it was the world record log lift challenge. End of the day, nobody broke the world record. Nobody got within 30 pounds. I shouldn't say that. There's people that attempted the world record, but no one completed a lift within 30 pounds. So Thor won that event, and I would say he was a favorite to win Europe's Strongest Man, but not a favorite to win that event at all, because there'd been so much posting by Eddie Hall, especially, who made several comments saying that he was going to break the world record log and win this competition. And he said several times, he said, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And he's like, when I said I was going to win World's Strongest Man, people doubted me. I did it. When I said I was going to deadlift 500 kilograms, everyone doubted me. I did it. And like, I feel like he makes such a point of that stuff like that I wonder what he feels like today after you're so.
I also wonder though if he's just like, I'm about to get paid.
And I think that's what I think it is about for him at the end of the day.
My thing is, if this log, we go back to this becoming about the one lift, but if this log lift world record does not get pushed as the thing that's happening here,
then
what did you hear about it? Nobody was talking shit about. I'm going to win Europe,
I guess. Yeah.
Because we also knew Eddie wasn't competing in the whole deal.
Yep.
And so what was it going to come down to? Thor versus Z and a bunch of people that kind of, I mean, they're all strong as fuck, but are kind of middle finishers at Worlds. You know?
And that's what the point you make is what I believe is the case. Eddie is literally just trying all that stuff he's saying. I don't know that he believes it or not. Like, I think maybe not even. He doesn't care. It is just about, like, he's just being a businessman of trying to.
Could we find a way to do this? I want to McGregor Mayweather my way into some sort of Eddie Hall. Like, can I just start calling him out?
Yeah.
And then I'll go and just get trounced.
Yeah.
But get paid.
Be like, well, I'd do it for $40 million. Yeah.
$40 million, Eddie. Let's do this.
Yeah. But Eddie was one that was saying he was going to beat it, and they had specified jumps, so it was going to go to 230 kilograms, which would have beat Z's 228. Z was kind of posting like that he was going to do it.
Well, and I actually believe Z.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And
But
then
did he get hurt on that? Because I didn't even see the attempt.
I don't know.
But
Maybe he did.
During the review, what was his last hit? What was his last good lift?
The
Was
last
200 and then 2?
Yeah, he got 200 and then he missed 213. So he got 440 pounds was his heaviest successful press, and then he missed 470.
They had said that 200 looked very easy.
Okay, so maybe he did get hurt.
And then I don't know. Did he finish the rest of the events?
I don't.
Or
Yeah,
he
did. I know because just the final results of World's Strongest Man, half Thor or Europe's Strongest Man, half Thor won 44 points, and then that Janasia,
Constantine.
yeah, he got second, and then Kilkowski, our rock man from the Arnold, he got third, and then fourth was Savickas. So yeah.
So
he finished. Yeah, he finished. He did well.
I don't know
in the
if I had read
stones
in a forum or something along the line there was talk that maybe he had gotten hurt or something on that attempt. But
also, our friend Terry Hollins got sixth.
seemed like he was pretty happy with that finish.
Yeah,
so he was coming off an injury, and
and we know his philosophy that he's like, I want to keep doing this for a long time. It's fun for me, and I'm probably not going to be the best anymore.
Yeah, he had even said he was like, I finished sixth. He's like middle of the road. He said, I've had, I think it was a hip thing and this or that. He was like, if I'm finishing middle of the pack in this right now, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. And other finishers on Eddie was one of those that was so confident he was going to break it, I guess, whether that's hype or what. He got 213. He missed 230, but in his defense, he posted a picture of how high he got the 230, and it was pretty
right
close
there.
to lockout.
Oh,
but
he's
had
also
that foot
not.
thing.
He's also not one who his lockouts are never that definitive either.
Well, and that's what they all say.
This is his lockout,
right.
and it's not this.
Right, and that's what's so hard about these max logs for these guys. When they get to that weight, a lot of them can get close to that, but stabilizing 500 pounds in a log above your head for even just that split second it takes to require the lift, like having that stability is like the limiting factor for most of them at that point. And he had that bad foot injury. He said, he of course makes the point right away is like, you can see I'm even just, doing it standing on that one foot. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess you kind of, to me at that point, it's like, well, you kind of got an excuse for everything then too. Like you say you're going to do it and that everyone watch out. And then as soon as you don't, it's instead of just saying, I just didn't have it that day, you say, well, look, you can see I'm even standing on my one foot. Then Iron Bibby you sent me a post of him.
I don't know
this week too.
Listen, I'm not like a great historian. I don't follow. We literally follow like the top four.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's like we are. I consider myself a fan of the sport, but like,
and I'm not sure what country he's from.
But Jesus Christ, this dude is huge,
yeah,
and hung with all the big boys on that log too.
Yeah, he got the same as Thor, the 213, the 470 pound log. Follow him on Instagram. He does some really crazy stuff. And did you say he's 25 years old? Or
he's young. I'll have to look it up again.
Yeah, but he's not very old. And
shoulder to shoulder, he's several feet.
Yeah,
wider than your average person.
His overhead pressing stuff is all pretty insane. I mean, a 470-pound log is obviously pretty crazy.
Yeah, he's
but...
25 years old and weighs 375 pounds.
And then, did any of you guys see the video of Thor getting the 213, which was 470 pounds? He didn't try. He stopped there because the only other people to hit the 213 were Iron Bibby and Hall,
Which we're doing the
log only. So he had no reason to go heavier, but it looked like he could have done more than the 470.
This is his 213 here.
That's Thor.
Yep.
Yeah. And so he didn't go above that. And like you watch that and you start to wonder, well, it seems like maybe he could be the one pushing that record soon. Someone who hadn't been known for his static strength and
Yeah.
That's what was interesting too. You know, when we talked to Thor at the Arnold, that was not a thing to him at all.
That's really easy.
When we talked to him at the Arnold, he said too. You know, he's like, they said my static strength wasn't strong enough, this and that, and he's like, I worked my ass off on my deadlift, my press, and,
Yep.
And to have a guy whose static strength was his weakness,
and now he's like the best in the world at it.
right? Like who? So
Yeah.
he's better than everyone else at deadlifting.
Yeah.
As far as he's
I
in
guess
that.
Eddie
You're not
Hall
gonna,
is
you're not
better
gonna
than
beat,
at deadlifting.
I guess, but Eddie Hall hasn't pulled anything big in
Right,
2 years. So
right.
what have you done for me lately?
Right.
Like so.
Yeah.
2 years ago, Eddie would have beat Thor. Well, Thor's pulling fucking 100-some pounds more than he was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So who fucking knows? But his
And he was already considered the best at moving. You know,
so his weakest thing is now, I think, his strongest.
Yeah.
Thing, which is real. Normally, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And normally, you're kind of better off just mitigating your weakness.
Right.
Don't shit the bed on the thing that's not your thing.
Right.
Just bring it up so you can play, and then you got to win the shit you win.
Right.
But I
But
guess at that level, there's no room for holes in your game.
And he has now. It would be hard to say that he has one.
Yeah. What's he not good at?
I don't know what you would pick.
I don't know.
Soccer.
Yeah. And he won Europe's, and he commented that he's 2 down, 1 to go. You know, his goal is win Arnold, win Europe's, now win World's Strongest Man. And at this point, I don't know how you would bet against him to win World's Strongest Man. Like, he seems like
Shaw
a freight
has
train.
to really bring it.
Yeah, Shaw better be 110% healthy, and then in my opinion, hope that Thor.
Makes a mistake.
Yeah. Like, because I don't even know
Because now I don't think you can beat half Thor without him not doing something perfectly. 'Cause
Yeah.
if he does everything as he's been doing, that he's just now. I think right at this moment,
Yeah.
he's better than everybody at those things.
It sure seems like it. You know, before the Arnold and Europe's, I would have been maybe a little bit more like
it was only training stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
You
let's
still,
see
like-
what Shaw does in
Yeah, it's
competition.
like he's
you
still
know?
been at the top. Like, you just have to assume
Yeah.
that until otherwise he is the.
The only thing is he's not the technician that Shaw is.
Right.
So I think he is more prone to mistakes.
Yep.
But he hasn't been making them.
And
so I don't know.
some of World's Strongest Man events are a lot different sometimes. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
Europe's Strongest Man was a log press,
Stone.
a deadlift, stones, farmer's carry, and a yoke.
Yeah.
To me, those are like the 5.
That's the foundational basics.
Yeah, those 5 strongman events. Like, not to say that any of them are not technical, but it's like,
If you had to standardize strongman, that's what it would be.
yeah.
My
And
opinion.
I mean, those are our strongman event this year. We did those 5 events.
Maybe
like,
replace a yoke with a throw and consider
Yes.
the farmer.
Yeah,
as
so
the
we're
static
missing a throw
was
in there.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But really,
But yeah,
that's about
you're
it.
hitting 90% of
Yeah.
the meat there.
right.
yeah.
But
So-
World's Strongest Man, there's more. Truck pulling is a common thing. You know, there's more variables, I would say.
A weirder deadlift of some kind.
Yeah.
Like it's at the knees, or there's
Yep.
just some.
Squatted last year.
Yeah, onto those, you know, like
Pads.
yeah. But like to your point, he's kind of the best at everything now. So what if you're the best at movement events and you're the best static strength? What event do they pick that you're like, oh, I'm actually not very good at that? Dang it. You know, it's kind of like,
The press thing has really surprised me though.
Yeah.
With him, like his press all of a sudden is.
well, watching that 470-pound log, and after that day, I'm sure Eddie's looked really good too at 470. So there again, he's right there with the other person that's the best in the world at that. You know, I don't know. It's crazy, and I wonder if he'll get better. Like, will he be even better next year?
It should be.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's not working that hard to get worse. What I don't get is I do so little implement training, and maybe that's why. Mm-hmm. But like anytime I fucking fuck around with any implements, and maybe it's because I don't do them until competition. I'm always some sort of beat up, and then everything's too heavy and it's really taxing. But I get just fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how these guys are doing. Like,
And at the heaviest level
they're gonna
of
have
anyone.
3 competitions in fucking 4 months,
Yeah.
and they're training as
And-
heavy as possible.
And maybe even getting better between them too.
Yeah, you would say so probably. That's a good
That's what we always
question.
talk
I don't
about
know.
is the limited amount of competitions we do in the strongman variety. It's like it kind of almost feels like it sets you back a little
Yeah.
ways. Like
Yeah. Well, I still have not recovered from one 2 months ago.
Yeah, well, these guys are obviously all freaks, and I think that's a big part of what makes them the freakiest of freaks is that the way that they can train and continue to train through it and continue to train heavier and heavier and get better and not just be like hurt and injured and so overly fatigued. I think that's part of what makes them enables them to get that good.
yeah,
Because it's in order to get that good, it's the combination of the people that have the drive to actually put in that work, and then also them being the people that have the genetics to be able to put in that work.
yeah. So looking at the top, do you guys know how old actually is Thor? Is he like
That's a really good
29?
question.
Yeah, I think he's like 30.
And then
I mean, I always thought he was just a little bit younger than I am, and I
Yep.
think he's 29 or 30.
and then that Janashia, he's pretty young too, isn't he?
Yeah,
And he had a pretty good showing at World's Strongest Man last year.
Yeah.
And then below him, you said Kilkowski.
yeah,
And
another
he's
really
like
young
24
guy.
or
Yeah.
something.
Thor's 29.
That Kilkowski, now he's really young.
So that's the thing is like, is it like getting to where like this really is
Yeah.
the new group? Like is Z kind of finally
And-
on his way
and
out?
That's a good point. That's what I wanted to ask you guys too. To me, that's what it kind of seems like. I wouldn't be surprised if after World's Strongest Man this year, if Z somewhat retired even. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I
what?
think
Like,
he's just had a rough recovery
Is it-
from injuries
he-
lately.
he
He's
kinda-
he gets beat up, and it's taken him a long time.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
'cause
kind of the
he's
exception to
old,
every rule.
relatively.
Yeah, like he is the exception to every rule. Like you can't really say anything's definite with him because
Yeah.
he can kind of do what he wants. But it's like, yeah, the momentum he's had lately has just been kind of like beat up, kind of losing weight, gaining weight again, beat up, losing weight. And it's like, yeah, maybe this is kind of
Yeah.
getting
I think,
down
and
the
I
front.
think and this is from the outside looking at it, looks to me, when he's off season, he gets the weight off. He's trying
Yep.
to take care of himself.
Yep.
And then he adds size as much as he can before when he gets ready to compete, and then kind of breaks a little bit.
Yep.
And I just don't know. I mean, but would I be surprised honestly if Z came in and finished top 3 in Worlds or something? No.
And if he does what you say he does, he loses weight, then he starts to build back up. Maybe he looks at Europe as just Europe's Strongest Man is just a stepping stone in his progress of getting World's Strongest Man is the goal. And like, so he's maybe only is at 70% of World's Strongest Man's.
And
Z.
I wouldn't put it past him to like see bigger picture and be like, oh, this one is just
Yeah.
like you said, one
He's
step
like-
in the
you
path.
gotta remember, yeah, he's
maybe
got
he's
a,
like,
he's got a lot of
yeah.
those trophies already.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So he's like, maybe that's where he benchmarks himself evenly. He's like, I need to go in here and get, 3rd or 4th or 5th. That shows me that I'm
Still hanging.
I'm going the right direction, and then really put it on these last 2 months. And
I really hope. I really want to see him compete at Arnold one more time.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be the.
That was,
just-
really
want-
disappointing
want
him
a-
not being
I want
there.
a full field sometime, and we're
Yeah.
not going to get Eddie there.
No, I think that will never
That
happen.
ship has sailed.
Yeah.
So, but I just would like to see a field now with some of these young guys. I want to see fucking Martins
Yes.
at the Arnold this next year.
Yeah.
And I know he was coming off of an injury, so I just think if
I'd
you
like to
look
see
at,
Robert Oberst. That'd be like,
yeah, what the fuck? Why I don't understand why is he not in that at all?
I don't know, because if we could field, we'd put Thor, Shaw, Eddie, Z, Martins, Robert Oberst, the Kilkowski. So there's 7 guys right there that are all
Really?
that Russian
yeah.
guy.
Yep.
Shivlyakov. So that's 8 right there. If you could start
That's 8
getting
really entertaining guys to watch.
right, and I would put Dimitar in there just because we like. Yes, he's a Massenomics favorite. That's 9. We could come up with a 10th here. One that,
like the 10th would be a tough because like that JF Carone, like
Yeah, there we
Carone
go.
to
That would
watch.
be- I
You
think
got
that's a
Corona,
good
1,000-pound
So-
puller.
so-
But that's we don't even have Jerry Pritchard in there either.
Oh yeah,
Like,
Robert
and-
Aaron, he has to
yeah,
be in there
so-
too. So here we go. We could put it like if can't they get these 11 guys? I mean, I suppose are all 11 of those competing at World's Strongest Man? I think maybe they are. So they all have to make the finals, though. I guess is the caveat.
But I mean at the Arnold.
That's what we would be fun for us to see is those 10 at the Arnold.
Yeah, I don't understand why Oberst doesn't do that.
Maybe he's not maybe he didn't qualify for it, because that's what they say about some of them. You have to actually qualify for the Arnold now, and maybe that's not what he does. I don't really know, and I don't know. Maybe it seems like he's progressing a lot now, but maybe we don't know. Maybe he's not quite at the
I think
level.
Oberst is a really entertaining guy. I think he's a nice guy. He's a good follow. Fact of the matter is, I think he talks more than he produces on the world stage.
Right. So that's maybe he's really not there.
Maybe he's just not there yet.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see him compete on that stage.
He would be a fun guy to watch at.
Because then you'd have some real good shit talkers. And you put Eddie on that list of 10 there. Well, Eddie's not going to be at the Arnold, so you can shave that off, and then you can still have Corona and Pritchett on that list.
Yep.
And that becomes. That is 10 people worth watching.
Right.
Yeah, that's
for
some top-notch entertainment.
And people, we're
that's some shit you best have a full documentary crew for that.
Yeah, and we're fans of the sport, but we're not like we're not like Cale
know
Beck.
all the names on
like
the list.
Cale Beck knows everything, and his point would probably be, but these three guys that we can't even remember their names now right there, they actually should be there and stuff like that, but we're not coming from that point of view. We're coming from a spectator that wants to see a really good show.
And like spectators in America. Because there are other guys, but it's so like Janasha is probably one of the best. He's just you don't see him ever. He doesn't have like a social media presence. It's hard to be a fan because you get to catch a glimpse of him like 3 times a year if you're lucky.
Yep.
But I really want to see Z compete one more time, like in person.
It would be really fun. It'd be fun to meet him too. He'd be
thing is, if he'd get there, I think we could get
to him. I mean, he would have been at the SBD booth this year. We could have had he been competing, but
maybe we should just fly him in next time.
This one's on us.
You've earned it, Z.
You're cool with flying coach, right?
Thor said he doesn't do that, so
yeah, I'm about to adopt that standard here. I have to fly to St. Louis this next week, and I have like the most basic ass cheap seats to where like you're not even allowed like anything. Like it's just like
no, you can't bring bags.
No.
Get those off of here.
Yeah, you don't get headphones.
We actually we get to like belittle you.
Yeah. Before we take off, everyone gets to say what they think about you, and you don't get a rebuttal.
We're gonna spill a drink on you.
You should have let Tommy and I know. We're actually Sky Zone members. We've got some pull. Yeah, we've got a little pull. As former
Delta.
Sky Zone members, they kind of.
Motherfucker's got a Sky Zone thing on your ticket one time. Highfalutin.
Which doesn't mean anything.
We had, but no. So I'm for real, like middle seat, way in the back on every flight. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be really sweet. Fortunately, both flights are like an hour long. So you sit there long enough.
You can make an hour.
You like make a little mix arm sweat with the people next to you, and then you're off the plane.
Right.
But.
Talk about what you do for a living. And...
No, headphones go on right away. I'll feel it out. Like I'll sit there and I'll do some things and whatever, and I'll tinker on my phone. And as we're moving around on the runway, you get one question to ask me, and at that point, then conversation's over.
Yeah.
Headphones are in. We're not talking anymore, and especially if you make it weird.
Right.
Well, yeah, just gonna open an Advanced Auto Parts here. Well, that seems really interesting. You're the regional manager of Auto Parts, so that sounds really great.
We needed a 14th one in our town of 25,000 people.
Mm-hmm. We easily have more auto parts stores per capita than anywhere on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, you better be able to get a battery for your car if it goes around.
I think it says something about that cars don't work here.
Yeah, that's got to be it. Like I can't imagine these big companies are like bringing auto parts stores in without doing research.
Well, like, who's doing this research?
Yeah, who
right?
does the market research and the
we have 11
here, a Napa here,
O'Reilly here. We have
but there is this,
and then there's also
there's a million car dealerships with service centers,
and the 6 local shops.
But there's a 3-block gap right here where there's not one.
there literally was a 3-block gap when there wasn't one, and then they filled it.
Yeah.
Well, and
Tore down
actually
a perfectly
to
good
fill
building.
it, I was gonna say to
Also,
fill it. It
here's
wasn't
the
just
building,
like
tear it down, build a new one.
yeah, it wasn't like there's an empty lot there. Let's put an auto parts store. It's like there's an IHOP there. We need to demolish that and put it on.
But no, you
And
don't
I
get
like. Did you ever have the Colorado omelet at IHOP?
That's a winner.
Yeah, that's a
I don't
good-
remember that
Now
one.
here's the deal, though. You don't get to just buy the land. And, you know, what I mean, when you're buying an IHOP to tear down an IHOP,
Yeah, you're buying the
an IHOP.
Yeah.
Like you're buying a fully functional restaurant.
Yeah.
You're paying for what that's worth.
Right.
Then you're tearing it down,
And starting over.
and then you're starting.
You're probably
over.
paying to tear it down.
Yeah.
Then paying to start your own building.
And you better sell a fuck ton of headlights and taillights and car batteries.
I mean, as a guy that literally my only experience in an auto parts store is to buy a car battery.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And like some of those tire air stem caps that like light up at night.
those, yes, yeah. It's all about the lights.
So anyway, we'll fly Z in on our Sky Zone.
On other news about local things that don't interest most of you that that listen to our podcast, it's snowing. We talked about it last weekend. It's blizzard again this weekend. We're 1 week further into April. And it's another blizzard.
Yeah.
It is the second week in April, and we are in the middle of another. Like
I mean,
6
there's like
inches of snow
yeah,
day.
there's like
I checked
half
the
a foot of
forecast,
snow.
and next week or all the way through next weekend, it's like there's a chance of rain and snow. So I mean, we're almost to May then.
It's
It's insulting actually to live here.
Yeah, as a man that owns a boat, I'm like really thinking like, well, there's gonna be ice on the lake until
My
end of May.
freaking my parents bought a very nice boat for their lake cabin that is
You'd
a
be
real
able-
perk for me.
Yeah.
To have a nice boat to use and not have to pay for, which is my favorite kind of boat.
Or
it's
take
one
care
step,
of it.
It's one step better than Tommy's having a boat that
Yeah.
he gets to use that he paid for. It's like having all of that but not having to pay for it.
Yep.
and take care of it
And,
And
take,
take care
or
of
take
it,
care of it.
and like store it.
Repair it if it
and
breaks.
Maintenance, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically never going to be summer here. I've decided
No,
it's not happening.
we don't get those luxuries other people get, like livable
Spring.
climates.
There also is, I don't know if you noticed, but there is, if you saw out further ahead, there is also a chance of snow next weekend.
Yeah, it's just
I mean, soon it is going to be May.
Yeah.
And, like it just can't snow forever, right?
probably good.
That's got to do with like CO2 emissions and stuff. It must be that
Probably or
Yeah.
something.
That's
Yeah.
bad
All the gases.
political
I
to
think
me.
it has to do.
mostly
Let's
political.
politicize the weather.
It's mostly political in my eyes.
Like I think it's funny how you can politicize everything.
Yeah, it's
now.
like the weather.
Like
That's a political
I
topic.
actually saw somebody on my Facebook today posted a picture of the snow and goes, Al Gore can fucking suck it. And I'm like, all right, first off, let's back up. I don't know what you're getting at, but even if you're not into the fact that there's
Global
whatever
warming is what the
that you act like global warming has something to do with your taxes. You know what I mean? Fuck these people. But anyway, he's like, fucking global warming. It's like, listen, it's going to be, you live in South Dakota, it's still going to be cold
Right.
sometimes. But for real, these fucking people
Well, and then also
will
that-
hop
that-
on and they'll
that
go.
term is global warming, not
Yeah.
South Dakota local
Yeah.
temperature.
But these people will hop on like we get our first below zero day. Huh, global warming.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, you're a fucking idiot.
right.
And yeah, that sucks. But I think we should start politicizing everything now. Be like, obesity, fucking Republicans.
Allowing sodas to be. I mean, that's
It
that
is for real.
a political.
Yeah, they're
thing,
like,
too.
oh, now the Democrats
Yeah.
are trying to take away my right to be
Yeah,
fat.
Yeah, that is everything is politicized like that. Though it is. Is that the right phrase?
I think so. We're making it up now.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't talk about
Keep your
politics
politics out of my pornography.
What are
That's all I gotta
Next,
say.
they're gonna do something to our Bitcoin next.
yeah,
Probably. Regulate all the bitcoins I don't have.
everything's good, just has to get ruined somehow.
Health insurance sucks. It's all sucks.
You know how you'll know that Bitcoin has finally made it when rappers start flinging around their Bitcoin in videos.
Well,
Until then, I'm
I
not
don't think
buying
that's
it.
why it will make it though, because it's not really a physical thing. so you
Exactly. It's
can't
never
play
going to
around.
make it.
That's true.
Yep,
If you can't rap about it,
it was doomed from the start.
yep.
The Alabama contingency, Big Jonathan.
I saw
Bake-
those guys were
bake-
throwing some weights around.
Yeah, bacon and
Jesus,
beer,
yeah.
bacon and beer bells.
Yeah.
Also, I see he went through
The,
Little bit of a-
art,
little
the
bit of a
artist,
rebranding.
the
The
artist
artist
formerly known as Bacon and Barbells.
Yeah, he put up very close to a 1,700 pound total.
Yeah.
It's worth noting we've talked about him on the podcast several times. He's
Well, Yeah, him and all of the Alabama guys are
we
beasts down
refer
there.
to it as the Alabama contingency because we have there's a stronghold of Massenomics supporters right in that. And Massenomics was a sponsor of the meet, so that actually is worth noting.
Yeah.
Massenomics was sponsoring that USPA meet held in Alabama there, and we were on the T-shirt even. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Ooh, I did not see the T-shirt.
Yep. We were a logo on the back of a T-shirt that a bunch of people got for free.
Oh, shit.
Really
That's how you know we've
Finally made it,
yeah,
guys.
Yeah.
Big Jonathan got a 672.4, was his biggest squat.
He did
hit-
squat 700, but it wasn't to
Yeah.
depth.
I mean, the strength is there.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
And
It was two red lights.
Yeah, it was
two red
it
lights.
was pretty close.
I think the
I'm not
strength is there.
I'm not judging it from across
Yeah.
the country. I'm saying
Tanner's like, I mean, he squatted it, but
yeah. No, I'm saying he did.
It was right there.
and it moved
It
quickly.
did.
And I think if he just would have went deeper, he would have still
Yeah, I think so.
come up with it. You know, it was just.
I actually had to do it.
346 on the bench and a 671 on the deadlift.
Yeah.
I actually had to do a second take. Is it one of their guys? Is it Tank something
Yeah,
down there?
yeah, Legend
I
of the Tank,
actually,
yeah.
for a second, thought it was Ray Williams because he had like the same
SPD
SPD singlet. Like that got me right away.
He is mini Ray Williams.
He-
And by mini,
he had,
I mean,
you
not
mean-
that mini Ray Williams.
but he
Ray
had
Williams
just
weighs
about
4,
he
probably
had just
weighs
about a
less than that.
2,000-pound total, didn't he? Like
Yeah.
1968 or something like that.
Yep.
Like
No, he does look like Ray Williams in that singlet. Yeah, that's not that same.
we should
thing.
go to Alabama sometime. guys.
There was a lot of big Wilks. I think
Yeah.
there's
Couple-
a few
couple
500 plus
500,
Wilks
yeah.
in that, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like Nicholas Dante McCoy is his
Yeah.
name. Yeah, mini Ray Williams.
Yeah,
I didn't see the squat. Is the squat on here? Yeah.
777. I think maybe he did somewhere in there.
I can't even see it. They're going 8 or 9 rounds. Yep, 777 squat, a 479 bench, and a 705 deadlift.
So you'll see a lot of those best lifters of the day walking around in lift hats because that was part of their winnings at the meet was some
that's
Massenomics
Driftfly.
apparel.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of a better prize out of meet. A competition of any kind.
Yeah, I'd take one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got like 30 at home, but
Well, he just wants one, not 30.
yeah.
Also have 30. But well, do we have any stuff to go over before we wrap up?
That was most of the really important stuff that we had to get through today. I think.
Yeah.
Like,
The rest of it's
There's
a
some
little
less important
frivolous.
stuff, yeah.
We'll pile it up for next week. So, yeah, we're also going to podcast midweek this week. It won't matter to you. You'll hear it next week. But, yeah. So, well, that'll have us about wrapped up for today. No iTunes reviews, no nothing.
no, I checked before I came.
What about
so shame
Amazon
on you guys.
reviews?
Yeah,
Any
they
Amazon
said
This one on Amazon? No
yeah.
magazines have reviewed us or
not yet.
Anyone
We're
else
still
in the
waiting.
media?
We're waiting to make it into men's
Hey,
health
did we
and
talk about
fitness
how we
and-
made it on that podcast list before?
No, I don't think so. That's worth.
Well, let's save that for next time because
Yeah.
I actually want to get into what else is on that list. and
Yeah,
why
that-
it's so ridiculous that we're on that
We
list.
just figured out what we can start talking about next.
Oh, yeah.
the work is
Here we
done.
go. Show prep starts now.
Starts before this one even ends.
So next week we'll talk about whose company we're among in the greats.
Of the greatest lists of bodybuilding podcasts of all
Yeah,
time.
yeah, we building bodies.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, that'll have us wrapped up for today, guys. Make sure you go to Massenomics.com. There you're going to find our store, all our articles. Sean's put up the latest article on, was it protein specific?
Yeah, talking about delayed response protein, casein proteins.
Yeah,
and some
basically it's like the
Timing.
scientific, everything that you need to know, buyer's guide to protein. Like what you need, what you don't need.
it's a good article.
Yeah.
Very comprehensive stuff. So,
It doesn't. It's not like if you listen to our podcast and then read that article, you'd be
you're
like,
like, those are two very
Yeah.
different things.
like,
yeah.
you could actually learn something from that.
Yeah.
The power of doing a little bit of research
Yeah,
at a time.
yeah.
Yeah. So there also, you scroll to the bottom of the page or a little thing will jump up and get you. Sign up for our newsletter. There you can get all sorts of coupons, get heads up when new products drop.
Which there might be something showing up
Soon.
soon.
Showing up real
very
soon.
soon.
Is that-
Could
does that
we
happen?
tell people about one of the new things?
Probably could.
I mean, this will come out next week. I wonder if it's not here, it'll be here soon.
Yeah.
All right,
maybe-
bitches. Let's drop it right now. Here we
Yeah.
go. Big announcement time. Go.
Champion brand mesh shorts.
How short are we talking here?
medium.
Damn.
I would say they're not long.
No, they're appropriate.
Yeah,
appropriate for
they're
today's
average.
age.
Appropriate.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I like that.
They're average length. They'll be black.
Depending on what size you get, they probably hit but right above the knee.
Yeah.
All right, so I can find some track shorts then. Maybe if I'm gonna get some custom ones made.
Yeah. If you want short. Well, I don't know if you go a size down. I don't know what
We'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll just roll them up.
Yeah.
Slit up the side.
Yeah, and they have the on one of the legs they have our lift logo with Massenomics underneath of it. We haven't seen the finished product yet, but the mock-up of it looks pretty gangster.
Sweet. So those will be available in the store here real soon. If you sign up for that newsletter, you're going to be the first one to know.
Well, they look kind of like the shorts you're wearing.
Yeah, that was
Basically,
doing double take there.
Yeah.
Jeez, guys. You guys are really eyeballing my stuff. So while you're there, too, you can sign up for the newsletter. That'll give you the heads up when the new shorts drop. Also, what else is on there? The store. The store is where you're going to buy the shorts. We're going to buy the shirts. We're going to buy the hats. We're going to buy everything.
Oh, we have another new product on the way, too,
Motherfucker.
actually.
What do
Speaking
we
of the
got?
store, you've always been able to buy our 4x4 Massenomics banner, as you can see in the background here if you're watching.
Or the
on
ever
YouTube.
popular.
The growing in popularity lift banner with that. No joke, we've been selling it. We are constantly reordering the lift banner because we're selling so many of them. Because of the popular demand for that, we decided to come out with a Huge Life banner, the same size as our lift banner, and except it's a Huge Life logo, and a little different than our shirt Huge Life logo. You just
It's
have to
more
check
of
it out.
the traditional
Looks
beverage style.
yeah, more like the beverage that may or may not
The
have.
champagne of lifting banners.
Yes, this banner is the champagne of lifting banners.
The champagne of gym banners.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that'll be in the store here real soon too. So, what else? Go to youtube.com/Massenomics. Make sure you click subscribe. Be digging, share all of our Arnold interviews.
By the time you listen to this, all of our Arnold interviews will be available to watch.
Yeah,
on
and
YouTube.
hop on there because we might have some more cool upgrades coming for the podcast.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
Oh yeah.
treats for the eyes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you only listen, you might want to start watching
Yep.
and subscribing on YouTube.
Yeah, we're gonna start doing it naked.
Nakeder.
I can't get any more naked. So make sure you follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, share all our articles and videos on Facebook, and then make sure you follow us all on Instagram. I'm Tyler. You can follow me at Tyler F. Stone. That's Tyler EFF Stone. Tommy?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
Tanner?
The Massenomics Instagram page at Massenomics.
All right, that'll have us wrapped up for this week, and we will talk to you next week. Stay strong.
You just heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears, you're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.